If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. I could probably end the list right there, but I'm going to continue. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. Speaking from personal experience, creating a podcast felt so overwhelming. I didn't know where to start, but using Anchor was a no-brainer. Their website and app is user-friendly. You're able to navigate through it easily. It's pretty cool, guys. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership, and it's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. A one-stop shop. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. This episode of the Indie Center podcast is brought to you by Spotify, the place where you can listen to your favorite artists and podcasts for free. Did you hear me? You don't even need a premium membership. Spotify has a huge catalog of podcasts on every topic, including the one you're listening to right now. On Spotify, you can follow your favorite podcast so you never miss an episode. Are you subscribed to me yet? Wink, wink. Premium users can download episodes to listen to offline wherever you are, and that is so convenient. How many times have you found yourself in an airplane or driving down a road with no reception and you just want to escape but can't? You are stuck sitting next to somebody that snores, or you're stuck in a meaningless conversation and you just want to listen to podcasts. Well, now you can, guys, and you can easily share what you're listening to with your friends on Instagram. So if you haven't done so already, be sure to download the Spotify app and search for Indie Center Podcast on Spotify, or browse podcasts in the Your Library tab. Also, make sure to follow me so you never miss an episode. All right, we are back. I hope you guys enjoyed last week with all your Thanksgiving festivities and your Black Friday shopping. But we are back with a brand new episode, and this week we are doing that special Q&A segment. I promise you guys, once a month. This month we have 3 questions, one more than last month. Way to go, that's progress. First question is from Samantha. Before I get into that question, I want to acknowledge you, Samantha. Thank you for being an active user on Facebook, commenting, liking, that's not even a word, commenting, liking, tagging potential guests. I appreciate your efforts and your awareness on the page. Thank you for your enthusiasm. I feel that from here. Okay, let's get into your question. What made you want to start this platform? Raul Colon, back in July, he had his own podcast going where he delved into the film business, from when to pay the actors, to locations, to how he started, to vultures stealing the projects. I thought that was interesting. He stood in one lane and tackled it. He was very systematic with it, and I loved it. And then one of his stars in Room 13, a film that he wrote, Leo D. Sales, he ended up launching his own podcast as well called Entertainment Underdog. And that name alone is catchy. I loved it. So I listened to both, and I was rooting for both, and I loved it. But that kind of sparked something in me. I'm like, oh, they're doing podcasts. Why can't I? At that time, I didn't know that anybody could do podcasts. Well, I knew, but I didn't know how to do it. Luckily, he had his sponsor on Anchor on there, and she said how to do it. So I said, screw it, let me check it out. So I did, and I didn't know where to start with it. I'm going to be honest. Indie Center was not the name, not the avenue that I landed on. My first swing at it was a podcast that I was going to call With Kids and Married. It was going to be a playoff of Married with Children, that old show with Al Bundy and Peggy. But I didn't want to limit myself. There was a lot of talent out there that don't have the responsibilities of marriage or kids that are tackling their dream. My whole thing is I wanted to talk to people and see how they're balancing real life with chasing their dream. So I scratched that once I felt that was a limitation on myself. And Indie Center was something that I've been working on for a year and a half before the podcast. It was going to be a website that I want, or it is going to be a website that I want to launch that would strengthen the communication line between actors, directors, screenwriters, comedians, and everybody in the field. So that way they could connect better with each other. And I didn't know how to generate foot traffic. I didn't know where to start with it. All I knew is if I tried to launch the website like out the blue, it wasn't going to get a reaction. It's not going to get a reaction. It's not going to get the promotion and the amount of foot traffic that I would want for it. So that's when the podcast came and I thought about it and I said, well, why don't I just start the podcast? I generate foot traffic like that and I introduce people networking and it would benefit not only the actors but the audience because now I'm able to do episodes and say, okay, you want to connect with this person, email him or find him on his website or this, that, and the third. So podcast was something that just came out the blue. And I'm a really personable guy, I believe. I'm told. And I believe that. Um, I said, let me just try it. I'm good with people. I'm good with talking. Sometimes I stutter. I had a really bad stuttering problem when I was younger, but as you can hear today, it's not there anymore. Yay. But yeah, that's what made me start it. Raul Colon kind of uh, planted that seed in me, and he was watering it without him knowing. So shout out to Raul Colon for that, man. I mean, I think without him launching his, I probably wouldn't have launched mine. And that goes to show you that what you do in life will inspire people, and he's all about inspiration and inspiring others. So really, a real good shout out to him. Without him, I think ICP wouldn't exist the way it is now. So yeah, that's what made me start it. Raul Colon. Who has been your favorite guest so far, and who's next? Loving your show, by the way, Jasmine. Who has been my favorite guest? You are trying to get me to fight each and every one of them. I cannot answer that without sounding like a dick. Who has been my favorite guest? All of them. They all bring something different to the table that I could walk away with. They all have lessons in their life that they have applied, and everything that they've been through in their life made them what they are today. So I can't really say this person's the best. This person is my favorite. Uh, but I will say the one that's coming on the show more frequently is Chris Haney. He is a funny guy, and I would probably answer that question by saying Chris Haney is a fucking funny guy. He makes my fucking sides hurt, and he brings the funny out of me. So, yeah, fucking Chris Haney. He's a funny guy. But hopefully that answered your question. But everybody is my favorite. I wouldn't have sat down with any of my guests if I didn't think they were gonna bring something good to the table. That's one thing I want to say. But who is next? I can't really give you a list of names of this person's going to be on 14, 15, 16, 17, because it all boils down to availability. There's been at least 4 or 5 people that I've been trying to get on, but because either they're busy, they're flying out of town, or I'm busy, I'm changing my kids' diapers, we just can't make it work. But there are people in line. I know Leo D. Sales is supposed to come on within the next few days. He had a family emergency. I hope all is well over there. There's an actor in Detroit that has a few awards for his film, Halt the Motion Picture. I'm going to meet up with him soon. Black and Privilege out on Netflix. Malcolm Banks, he's on there. I'm going to meet up with him soon. Baby Horchata. I'm going to meet up with him soon. He has been on my list for the past, I want to say 2-3 months. So he is next. Ruben, you are next, my friend. You are next. There is, I don't want to get the years or the country or state wrong. but she is won two. I think she was 2018 Miss Germany, or I know for a fact she was Miss Pennsylvania. I don't know which year, so I'm not gonna, boil down to a year, but she reached out to me, and I am excited to have her on the podcast. I want to know everything about pageantry. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Let me try that again because my stuttering shit is coming back. Pageantry, pageant. She wins a lot of pageants. Okay, let's just leave it at that. She wins a lot of pageants, and I want to know everything about that. So I'm really excited on that. There is a child. He writes children's books for a living. I'm waiting on that confirmation. There is a guy that does comic books for a living that I'm waiting on that as well. But there are people that I've reached out before the launch of the podcast, and they kind of left me on red, feeling salty. But if they end up reaching back out to me, then most definitely I'll sit down with them. But I don't know who's next. Honestly, I really don't. I'm mentioning all these people, but it's all boiling down to availability. It could be somebody out the blue that could be on next. I have no idea. There are people that are reaching out to me, and I'm reaching out, and I'm kind of clustering myself with like 20, 30 people all at once that want to get on. And oh, Anthony Miller as well. He is from Indiana. He's an actor that frequently we text frequently trying to figure out a day. But there are a lot of people that want to get on, that I want on. And it's nothing. It's not saying patting myself on the back or saying, oh yeah, we did shit over here, ICP is popping. No, there are a lot of people that I am unable to reach, because of my day job, because of my kids, because of what they got going on. But yeah, I don't know who's next. Whoever's next, if you're listening, you're next. Last question. I changed his name. I think this was a personal email to myself, but I feel that his question might possibly spark something in whoever's listening out there. My name is Dennis, and I'm a 24-year-old aspiring actor from the Chicago area. I was wondering if you might be interested in having a relatively unknown actor on the podcast. I know it's a long shot, but I really want to promote my past and future projects, and your podcast looks like a great way to do so. I'm going to answer that question by saying fuck yes, okay? And I'm going to follow that up by saying I myself do not have a lengthy resume. I have a supporting role in anti-gun violent film that came out 3 years ago, and I myself wrote a film that I played lead in, but I don't have a lot of credits in my resume, so I am not gonna create a standard that I myself can't meet. Okay, this podcast is for you guys to share your story, right? If you're an aspiring actor and you have a demo reel, which you do, you sent me a demo reel, it's an automatic, yeah, why not? You have a voice, you have an opinion, you want to be seen, you want to be heard. Now there are guidelines that I would like to meet, right? I just don't want to run amok and have anybody and everybody on here. But yeah, definitely, I'm all for bringing anybody on. I created this podcast to give you a stage. This is your stage. Stand on it. Speak on it. I just happen to be an audience member that just talks in the middle of your stories, you know. But I am extremely accessible. It's not a long shot. It's fairly a feasible one. Um, you could reach me on Facebook, right? You could find the Indie Center podcast page on Facebook. Message me. I might take a little bit longer to apply to reply. The the lady in Pennsylvania, the pageant winner. I don't want to say the awards that she received wrong. So it took me a few days to reply, and I apologized, but I replied, okay. But yeah, reach out to me, man. No problem. I'm not on a mountain. right? I'm just sitting here. I'm just a guy with an iPad and two mics. Nothing major over here. Even though the stories are major and it's pretty cool, man. The people I sit down with, there's stories like I go back home and I tell my wife, babe, Enrique found a baby in a microwave. Conversation started right there. I say, babe, Chris Haney, he got punked out and he got knocked out. Conversation started right there. You know, Jose Santiago, god damn, an hour 20 minutes. This guy could have made a movie with all the shit he was saying. But conversation starters right there, plural. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for the questions for this month. Hit me up on Facebook, Indie Center Podcast. Search Indie Center Podcast on Facebook. We should be the first page that pops up. Like that shit. You can email us your questions, comments, concerns, requests, ideas. You can email us at indiecenter.podcast@gmail.com. I will be on next month to answer your questions. See you guys next week on a new episode of the Indie Center Podcast. Yeah, peace. If you enjoyed this week's episode, please make sure you hit that subscribe button to stay centered on all Indie Center Podcast episodes. If you are an independent creator and have a story to share and want to have a sit down, please email me at indiecenter.podcast@gmail.com. That's indiecenter.podcast@gmail.com. If you have sponsorship inquiries, I'd love to help local businesses. Please email me at indiecenter.podcast@gmail.com. Until next Monday, guys. Peace.